Hello, everybody. My name is Mark Cacho, and I'll be talking to you today about research and problem solving, helping you solve these production problems, and just navigating them, really. I feel like we tend to forget that working as a team and working with other people, there are a lot of unknowns, so I'm just going to be going through that stuff with you today. So for those who don't know who I am kind of new to this scene here. I am a generalist. I do programming, art, sound from time to time, and I do like doing production a lot. I like getting people together and just making something cool that we can share with the world. Oh, it wanted to go all the way, and that's not what I want to do. And I am fueled by the hot bean juice I call coffee, so that is very important for me. Other than that, I did move away last year to Toronto, and I just graduated from the Toronto Film School. I'm doing game design animation. I never thought I would do art in my entire life. And then I just took a leap of faith, and now, hey, I can do a lot more now. So, you started your project. Pre-production is very important. People tend to jump into things or just quickly go through, what this game is, what the mechanics are, but you gotta really sit down and solidify them. And proper planning does alleviate a lot of the problems that come with making a game or making a new project. Scoping down is something you hear quite often. Don't reach for the stars, because especially when you only have 48 hours, you might be disappointed at the end if you try to. Using consistent language. So artists speaking to programmers, they don't speak the same language, but there are some common terms, that you can use. If you're using a game engine like Unity, a material is a common term. Me getting my mesh into there is a common term. Just things that allow you to communicate better will be better overall. And solidifying what your MVP is, or essentially your minimum viable product. What the bare minimum this game is going to be, so that at the end, at least I am happy with the results. Things that people also, I find, tend to forget is, will my existing knowledge be sufficient for this project? And going off of that, do I have time to try new things? Everybody always wants to try new things, but a lot of the time they might not be prepared to, or when they try to, they end up not giving up and being stubborn, and I am guilty of that. And you end up wasting time because of it. And you really just can't plan for it all. So, at some point you will hit a roadblock, and we do love those. We use them as an opportunity to grow as a person, grow as a team. But now I guess I should tell you about the whole research and problem solving. So help, I don't have the tools. A lot of people will think that when it comes to production or when it comes to their own knowledge, they really undervalue what they know. And I just want to say that no matter what level you are or what level you think you are, everything you know and you've learned is valuable. It can be used for your research. And especially if you're limited on time, when you're searching out new things or trying new things, seek out resources, at least to start, that are within your grasp of understanding. If I am a beginner programmer, I might not try to be jumping through optimization loops and all of this stuff if I don't understand how a method might work in the most efficient way. And by building on what you already know, it makes it easier to get these skills faster and to progress faster. And here's an example of a scenario when I've had to do this. So a couple months back, this is something I did for my student project. I had to teach myself VFX, and I also not only did the art for them, but I had to program them. And in class one day, when we were checking in with our instructor, I had a couple hours essentially to make a certain VFX workable, and I had to make it work on a dynamic object. Some limitations where I have very limited knowledge on how it all works, how it all connects. We were using URP in Unity, which already puts another limiter on us and what we can do. And again, I am limited in what I know. And another thing was we were using our models were all dynamic and they were all separated. So it was not an ideal situation for me. And how I kind of overcame that was I converted the VFX that were originally made in VFX Graph to work as a particle system. I'm a strong believer in don't use a shovel for the job of a spade. Why would I use something so extravagant if I'm not going to need it? And that particle system made in VFX Graph, well, that VFX was not made by me, so I had to kind of convert it and still make it true to what the original artist had in mind. So then I kind of had to look up, how can I do this dynamically? And I ended up finding, oh, the particle system can work on a skinned mesh renderer. And using that, I kind of put the puzzle pieces together, and I wrote a simple little loop there that grabbed all of my meshes, set them at runtime when I needed them to run, essentially during a death animation, and I just let it run. And I was able to solve that problem using what I know. I, at this point, didn't need to go outside of my knowledge. Everything that I thought was outside my bubble, I was able to reach for it, grab it, and put it into my own realm of understanding. And that's another thing, is you don't have to find a complicated answer. Sometimes the best answers are just right in front of you. You just need to kind of make it work with how you work. And in the end, so we can see just a quick little clip there in the little game. So it's really fast, but all of the little enemies there, I got them to spawn on each of their parts as they disappeared, and it's not a weird static mesh that just stays standing up, which is what it was originally. And I even used that same thing, that same tool, to apply with the little trail on his hammer when he goes through. So I was able to even reuse that, and that's something that I grew from, and a challenge that I overcame. So you're wondering how you can do it yourself. Something is to identify your limitations. Am I limited by my knowledge, by my hardware, software, or just the team that I'm in? Is this a brand new team that I just need to feel out how everybody's doing? And when you're match made or where you join a new team, it can be hard to get that teamwork in. But be patient with everybody and everybody's experience, because like I mentioned before, everybody has something to bring, no matter how much or how little experience you have. And when you start, trying new things, you don't want to stray too far from what you know. This can lead to work that is sloppy and just like time wasted. There's been a lot of instances in my life where I will, especially coding wise, I try to grasp this concept that I don't understand, but I want to implement it because I'm stubborn. And I keep going at it, and I go at it, and I go at it, and then by the time I'm at it, I throw it out, and then I just do it the way that I know how to do. And it's just a mess, and it's a time waster, and it's something that I learned about me and just the process in general that I hope can resonate with others. And this all takes practice and time. Everybody will build their own library of resources to call upon, and you don't worry if you can't do something right away. You can look at the person next to you and see that they can do these cool things, but at the end of the day, at some point you might be able to, but don't stress if you can't right now. We're all growing ourselves, So here's a little diagram here. So we have a problem, and how I see this problem is we need to take a step back. Oftentimes people forget to take a step back, and they just stare at the problem intensely and wondering how they can fix that problem. And in reality, you need to find something that you understand about the problem. You might not understand it right away or the exact issue, but at some point when you kind of take that step back and see the greater picture, you'll be able to identify it. And like I mentioned before, not all solutions need to be complicated. A lot of the times, the best solution is like right in front of our face. We're just choosing to ignore it because I want this shiny new solution, or I want to research this because it'll be better in the end. But if you can't do it, again, it might lead to some sloppy work. And when you do research, everybody has a knowledge base. You know these buzzwords that might other people not know. If you're diving into C# for the first time and you forget what something means, you know what a variable is, you know what a method or function is, you can search these terms up in their equivalents, and using that previous knowledge base to guide your research can help you just step up a lot faster than you just trying to jump for something that you can't really obtain right now. And another thing is it required? Like, do I have to be searching for this brand new shiny solution? Or like I mentioned, can I just use what I have already and just repurpose everything together? And when I kind of gathered all of that, we go back to our problem, we test it, and we just go back and forth, and eventually you'll come to a solution. And another thing is communicate with your team, even if they're not in the same realm of understanding of you. A lot of times they'll offer some insights. Some of the problems I've had when it came to stuff like this have been solved by somebody on my team telling me the easiest solution that I just choose to ignore, because I'm just like, this is too simple, it can't be that simple, and it was. It doesn't have to be this giant complicated mess, really. So to recap, really identify your limitations as well as your current knowledge. Knowing where you are starting is great, and it shouldn't be seen as I am nowhere. It should be seen as this is where I'm starting, and now I know how to get up there. And you're going to use that to guide your research. Not all solutions need to be complicated ones, and take a step back when needed. If you get frustrated, it won't lead to cleaner solutions. And just taking the time to understand something now, spending that time now, even though you want that shiny new solution or knowledge or technique, will save you from time-burning mistakes later on. And yeah, that's my talk on that. Thank you very much. I would also like to thank Winnipeg Digital Art Group, as I am representing them. We do have art jams every Friday night. We're not doing it this weekend just because big game jam night, but we hope that you'll join us soon. And you can find me at my website, just the bottom there. Thank you.